The African-American woman I married wasn't my wife. She was a fugitive who poisoned me for months.
I never thought the woman I kissed goodnight every day was slowly turning my life into a death trap. For years, I believed my world was solid. My business was thriving, my home was peaceful, and my family was complete. My name is Jerome Benton. I'm 35, founder of a top cybersecurity firm in Denver, and a man who has always trusted his instincts. Except, it turns out, when it came to my wife, with her soft smile, her calm voice, and a way of making our house feel so warm, Roberta felt like the safest person I knew. But all the while, cracks I never even noticed were spreading just beneath the surface of our perfect life. One morning, she stood in the kitchen flipping pancakes, just like any other day, but something felt wrong. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Her voice trembled just a little when she spoke. Then she announced she wanted to donate blood, a strange request, considering she'd always been terrified of needles. The explanation she gave sounded rehearsed, too polished, but I let it go. I wanted to believe her. I wanted our life to stay simple and uncomplicated. But instinct is a stubborn thing. It nags at the edges of your peace until you finally start listening. That night I found her whispering behind the closed bathroom door. I didn't catch everything, but 2 phrases pierced straight through me: he doesn't to suspect, and 3 to 5 days. The sound of the toilet flushing to cover her conversation sent a chill right down my spine. The very next morning, I began digging into things I never imagined I'd have to investigate: DNA tracking, blood donation protocols, Federal Registry alerts. What was she hiding? What had she done? The answer arrived a week later when a blood services specialist showed up at my home with 2 police officers. Her face was pale with urgency. When the officers weren't looking, she whispered to me, "Take your son and leave." Tonight, she pressed an envelope into my hands. Her donation triggered multiple federal warnings. I've never seen anything like it. Whatever she's involved in, you need to get away. When I opened that envelope, my world cracked in 2. The name on the report wasn't Roberta K.O. It was Elena Valdez, a fugitive wanted for a brutal armored truck robbery in Phoenix where 3 guards had died. She had vanished with millions and resurfaced as my wife a year later. But the worst part wasn't the stolen money or the new identity. It was the handwritten note at the very end of the report. Her blood contained compounds consistent with slow poisoning, and the symptoms they listed matched everything I had been feeling for months: the fatigue, the headaches, the general weakness I'd blamed on stress. The woman I loved wasn't just lying to me. She was killing me, and she planned to take my son with her when she left. Terror burned through me, a hot, searing flame of pure fear. But I forced myself to stay still, to stay silent, to keep watching. I was a cybersecurity expert, after all. I dug deeper, using the same tools I used to expose the world's most sophisticated hackers. I discovered a trail of men just like me, wealthy, a bit isolated, each dying quietly of unexplained illnesses. And each one had been married to a woman who disappeared right after their death. Elena's marriages weren't accidents. They were her career. By the time she returned home that afternoon, carrying shopping bags and smiling sweetly at our son, Aaron, I already knew the truth. As she walked into the room, asking if everything was okay, I could barely breathe. She studied my face for just a moment too long before answering my questions. Something in her eyes shifted. A cold calculation flickered behind the warmth. "Maybe we should take a trip," she suggested lightly. "Just us, Costa Rica. Remote, convenient. And most importantly, no extradition treaty with the United States." I played along, pretending to love the idea, while my mind raced, calculating every possible move. That night she whispered on the phone again, but this time I was ready. I recorded everything. I learned she wasn't working alone. Her partner was a man named Bernard Hammond, a notorious criminal with heavy ties to money laundering, identity theft, and extreme violence. Their plan was simple. They wanted me dead, and when Hammond's greed grew too large for his share, they planned to eliminate Aaron, too. No loose ends. From that exact moment, I stopped being prey. I became the hunter. I mapped their entire digital operation, tracing every single offshore account and collecting every incriminating message. I planted my own evidence, forged financial trails that would lead the authorities straight to them, set digital and physical traps throughout the house, and backed up every single recording to secure federal servers. I didn't sleep. I just prepared. The next morning I found it. A fine white powder inside the coffee machine, nearly invisible, but lethal if consumed daily. She came into the kitchen with that bright, fake smile, offering me a fresh cup. I took it, walked over to the sink, and poured it straight down the drain, my eyes locked on hers. Her hand twitched. It was a tiny movement, but it told me everything. She knew I was slipping away from her control. I moved quickly. I sent my son to a trusted neighbor with a prearranged safe word. I downloaded every file I would need to dismantle her entire organization from the inside out. And then I waited. At exactly 9 o'clock that night, a black SUV rolled silently into the driveway. Elena stepped out first. Hammond and 2 other men followed right behind her. They believed the house was theirs to walk into. They believed I'd already be weakened, dying quietly in my bed just like all her other victims. "Sweetheart," she called out gently from the doorway, her voice dripping with false affection. "We have visitors." The 3 men entered, pretending to speak calmly, pretending this wasn't a kill job. Elena pulled out a weapon. Hammond immediately started demanding access to my accounts. They had no idea that I had cameras recording their every move, that alarms were wired to every door and window, and that the entire house was prepared for their arrival. And they definitely didn't expect me to fight back. The game was over, but not for me, for them. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more stories like this, make sure to follow and subscribe.